Hey there, welcome back to Cyber Soul, real talk for a hacked up world. I'm Keelin Conant, and today we're stepping onto the cyber battlefield with someone who knows what it means to show up when the stakes are high. I'm joined by Kristi Houssiere from Beazley Security. You might know Beazley as a leading cyber insurer, but what you might not know is that they also have a very dedicated incident response team working hand in hand with clients when things go sideways, not just financially, but operationally. Kristi, welcome to CyberSoul.
Hi.
Can you start us off by sharing your role and how Beazley Security fits into the bigger Beazley ecosystem?
Sure, no problem. My name's Kristi Houssiere. I'm the VP of Global Alliances. I've been here about 2 years, but I've been in cyber my whole career, and it's always in the partnering realm. So always with alliances and partnership focus. So partnering and working on things together, like you today, is in my wheelhouse. As far as what we do here at Beazley Security and how it fits into the larger Beazley insurance business is it's what we fondly refer to as full spectrum cyber. So what does that mean? Full spectrum cyber is basically while we, Beazley Security, we don't sell insurance, we are the services, the unique services capability that's behind Beazley Insurance to deliver services that help clients that are insured before they bind, while they're bound and insured with Beazley. And if an incident should occur, we're also there for incident response. Actually, Beazley Security was born out of the need for incident response. And slowly but surely, we've grown that practice to over 4,000 breaches that we address a year, 20 plus or so team leaders. And collectively, with that global reach, there's about 130 different certifications. So we've really grown that team incredibly over the past 5 years. But we have a very deep insurance expertise and a depth of understanding the claims process, which really tightly entwines us with our parent company Beazley Insurance.
So you guys are basically called in when, the stuff hits the fan. Your team, Beazley Security, right?
Yeah, like I said, over 4,000 incidents a year. And the cool thing that we've incorporated in the whole process that, again, interlocks us with our parent company is our cyber services team. These are highly skilled individuals within our organization that serve as almost like a incident response management and triage team. So they get the right parties involved, they assemble the right parties to ensure that the client's needs are taken care of, whether that be, breach counsel, monitoring services, additional parties they put together, and the key word being rapidly. Rapidly, they put them together and they assemble the team so that the claims process is smooth, but also the client feels taken care of and in the know, and that they've gotten a response, as fast as possible.
Yeah, so for when an attack happens, there's a lot of things that are going on for listeners who might not understand or are kind of new to this concept. And I think what initially happens is, oh crap, what do we do? And Beazley has the full team already created and ready to intercept really quickly. So Beazley gets called in really fast. A lot like my team at Alvaca, we do incident response. We've worked together before, our companies, and you're often one of the first to know when something goes wrong. That your team. What does that first call actually look like?
Yeah. So, like I said, rapid is a key word. The cyber services team engages immediately. Like I said, assembling the right team um, and working with the right parties that need to be in there, including the incident response team. All this is all taking place within minutes of the first call. It's I mean, I hate to to liken it to, a car accident, but basically, if you were to get in a car accident, the first call you would make would maybe be your family. I'm okay. But then the second call you make would be to your insurance. I got in a fender bender. This is what happened. And that's sort of how it all unfolds really quickly is the client, depending on their sophistication, security, maturity level, they may not really understand what's going on, but they can articulate kind of what they are experiencing. So being calm, collected, and ensuring that that we know that they know that we know what we are doing and have done this over and over again is reassuring. But that rapid response within, minutes, not hours, is really critical. But typically, I have experienced and witnessed our IR team in action. I'm by way of my title, I'm the VP of Global Alliances. I get to work with these people alongside, but I'm not actually doing the IR work. But typically, once the team is in place, key roles like the IR lead, IT, comms, legal, executive sponsorship, RIT is all put together. Beazley Security will move towards working with the security operation team or MSP if there's one involved, and validate the incident, that it's real and not necessarily a false positive. And then they move towards incident containment and other steps along the way as the investigation starts. Yeah, unfolds.
So when you started seeing behind the scenes,
Yeah.
what surprised you the most when you started seeing kind of what was going on? Like what do you think companies think they're ready for but aren't after seeing
Yeah.
the
You know
same
what?
thing?
It's like the total basics. And I'm a scuba diver. I'm certified, and
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
yeah. So part of that is when you are getting ready to scuba dive, you plan your dive. You plan the
Right.
dive out completely. This is what we're going to do. We're going to swim this way. We're going to stay on the line for a certain period of time. Go swim this way. We're going to come back. We're going to stay under however many feet for however much long, because all of that, all those details matter. They matter so much that you could get really sick or possibly die if it goes wrong. So you plan the dive, and then when you do it, you dive the plan. Same with incident response planning. You make a plan and then you follow the plan. So when I say it's the basic stuff, it's, kind of, and this is no fault to anyone in the organization. I have a lot of empathy for the just the stress and the amount of pressure the team is under, but preparation is really key. And sometimes, those plans become outdated. Commonly it's an issue that we see unfolding because maybe they're not testing their incident response plan, or they haven't looked at it in a while. They need to, plan the dive the plan, but drill it, have an assessment, make sure that the roles are clear that are outlined in there, that the contact information is clear, because sometimes key people, on Fridays afternoons or during holidays when some of these things typically happen, they're unreachable, or they've moved on to a different, job. And so I think one of those things about planning and keeping the plan is just, visit that, like put a timer on your calendar that you go back and just do a sanity check on your IRP to make sure it's still accurate, especially those contacts that need to be in the room when you're talking about these things.
Yeah, I think that's really important is making sure that you go through all this work to plan everything.
Yeah.
But then, we kind of set it and forget it. And like any cyber hygiene, it's important to go back. And I also empathize with the IT team so much because during these incidents, I've seen people have heart attacks, get laid off, who knows how this is affecting people at home. So like for us to say, yeah, go back to your, plan every, quarter or something, it's like, well, I have 5 million things to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it yeah, it is it's these little things that make a big difference, but it's like, where do these guys get to, include it into their daily, right?
Yeah,
So that,
totally.
yeah, but that could be an easy, just put on your calendar and go through it. Um,
Mhm.
thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So you've seen this play out a bunch of times. What are some patterns in like repeat mistakes that keep on happening in these organizations, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, other than, the planning piece of it, I would say, in hair on fire situations, um, communication strategy is really key, not only to the people in the room that are managing the incident, that's really important, but, oftentimes, the employees around that are being affected around the breach are also really stressed out too. So making sure that this disruption and uncertainty isn't causing additional stress by way of the others that are involved. So I would say something that continually is, I can't stress enough, the communication. And I know, and I'm sensitive to the fact that sometimes the IR team and the executive sponsors or whoever is involved in the crisis comms piece of it can only share so much. There's only so much you can share at the time because maybe you're working through a sensitive issue, but still maintaining that communication heartbeat with your employees and others affected is really, really important. We all learned that during COVID. I mean, it's almost the same thing as you're experiencing something you've never experienced before. It's heightened sensitivity. People are really concerned. And the thing that carries people through is maintaining that line of communication.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a top-down leadership, that's really important. And everyone kind of standing in responsibility together and getting through
Yeah.
it together. I feel like I've definitely witnessed some blame happening. And the organizations that come out quicker and stronger usually are the ones that are all in responsibility together and really
Yeah.
committed to, making the changes that are presented to them.
Things that, you know, we just did a cyber risk and focus. It's the first of our series, and we talked about edge device exploitation, and even that, that incident caused panic among the employees. They were wondering about their job security. They were wondering about their safety of their personal information, as well as like all the other stuff that comes with it, increased workloads on the security teams. And that stress is all impacted, and those are the things that maybe you think, oh, yeah, it's happening, but it really does over time, cause some major, not only IT disruptions but mental
Life.
health disruptions. you know
Yeah. Thank you
so
for sharing that because one of my, one of my goals for this whole conversation for this podcast is that we don't gloss over the hard things,
yeah.
when a hospital goes out, there are lives at risk and there are lives lost. And I think, we've kind of been desensitized as consumers, like, oh man, my social security's been leaked or my credit's out there, which is devastating as well. And we really get to lean into this traumatic experience that not only end users, quote unquote, and lives and consumers are experiencing, or patients, but also the people at the front lines, the people who have stood in responsibility and have done everything in their power to fortify these networks, and the threat actors are still kicking our butts. So my next question, and this is the one that really prompted this entire conversation. You've seen me at different conferences stand up and ask, all different kinds of people. Anytime I have a microphone in front of me, I ask this question. So I'm gonna ask it to you. How do we actually get ahead of the threat actors, these bad guys? And where do you think we took a wrong turn? And then is it too late to adjust?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. There's I mean, there's a bunch of next steps and things that we can do. I think that the thing that stands out is it's an asymmetrical fight. We as defenders defend our respective clients or networks or whatever, where I think the threat actors oftentimes, and we've seen it with ransomware specifically, it's a business to them, and they collectively collaborate and work together and share information, and we haven't gotten there yet. Like, I think there's some intel sharing, there's some
It's
information.
community. It's
Yeah,
community, right?
yeah, but like there's still people that hang on to it because it's a product, or it's a feature inside of a product, and they don't want to give away the secret sauce, but it's still, because of that inherent, like, this is my product that I make, and I'm not going to show you how we do it. it it's an asymmetric, continues this asymmetric fight against each other, because we're not sharing information the way that the attackers are sharing information about us. So, I mean, I think that's a huge piece that needs to change. But I have to say, that I've read some reports that detection is much faster than it ever has been. That defenders are using innovation to their advantage, and detection is becoming much more rapid. That's a positive sign.
That's great. Yes.
I've also read that dwell times are lower than they have been before. So they're finding, evil in the network, and addressing it really soon. So instead of, I think we need to also celebrate the wins that we're seeing as an industry too, and lean into that a bit, and foster that willingness to work together and be innovative and share all of that stuff. I mean, we're always talking about best practice. Um, we're always talking about continuously training for security awareness your employees, because what the hackers are doing is they are using trust against us, right? So the number one thing is people trust people. They pick up the phone and they're like, "Oh, you need me to reset your password? Oh, let me double check that it's you." And they call, and they happen to be calling a burner phone that has a fake number on it, and human trust has then been defiled, but benefit to the attacker. And we've got to teach our people that you can't trust everyone, unfortunately, and that you have to verify and double check. And
Well, and use
yeah,
your own intuition, and this is something that I always remind my people, my community, if it feels off, it probably is. So,
yeah, totally.
slow down and just kind of tune in. Does this feel weird? Like, why are you calling this phone number for this person you already know? You
Yeah, yeah,
know?
exactly. And
Yeah.
your urgency is not mine, so back
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, all of these things, I think those are things that can, on a positive side, are putting our industry in the right direction.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's good. Yay. Hope. So, with everything you see, the panic, the fatigue, the super pressure cooker, how do you, Kristi, stay
Mhm.
grounded? And what helps you stay connected to the people behind the breach? I mean, you just told a very powerful story about the hospitals, but being in it for 25 years, you even said yourself earlier that, you can get a little bit desensitized to it all. So how do you stay grounded and still connected to the people?
I think, leading with heart, um, knowing
Love
that
it.
your teams come to work every single day to do good work.
Mhm.
Everyone's coming to work with the best intentions.
Even the threat actors are coming to work with
Yeah, and
their
and
goals.
and even if they do, misstep and you know take a call from somebody that's social engineering them, or like, it happens. They're trained to do the things that they're trained to do, just like we're trained to not do them. But lead with heart, and know that teams come to work every day to do good work, and respect those efforts, and coach them when needed, but coach to empower them to be the best selves. I think that's, like, um, being there and knowing that, like, sometimes people are going to make mistakes, but that's okay as long as they're getting better from them, and they're working forward. I think that helps me stay grounded. I have a great team. Beazley Security is the most fun I've had in my career. It's been a great working with the team. I've been learning a lot, especially on the insurance side, because it's not where I came from. But I think that's the number one thing is lead with heart.
I love that. I'm all about empowerment and,
Yeah.
having grace with people. I mean, I've read stories about some of the most powerful people have been, social engineered. I mean, it happens to all of us because it's a psychological warfare, right?
Yeah. And it's not
So
an Arabian prince anymore.
no, it's not.
Yeah.
No. Um, Okay, so thank you for taking us all through that, and we're gonna wrap up here in a little bit, but I love doing a quick lightning round. So
Okay.
no overthinking, just whatever comes to mind, okay? We're ready? You
Okay,
got
I'm
this.
ready.
What's a non-cyber book or show you're loving right now?
Oh my gosh. So, total Tom Hardy fan, but
Oh, I love Tom
Mobland,
Hardy.
not
Nice.
Mobland is a TV show I'm watching. It's a little gruesome, but love Tom Hardy, so
Me
I'm a
too.
sucker. And book, I really like Untamed by Glennon Doyle,
Hmm.
superhero. That her advice keeps me grounded. So read that book if you haven't read it.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, and I'm gonna stop the lightning round because I love that book too. And what I love about it is using our creative intuition and our creativity in order to kind of live our everyday lives, I think is just so important, especially
Mhm.
working in tech. We can kind of get rid of the creative sometimes, but I've always been such a stand for that, being an artist and a writer. So I love that reminder. I should pick it up again. Okay, favorite snack or beverage to get you through an incident response shift or,
Oh gosh.
ordeal.
Um,
What's in your desk?
Chocolate.
Chocolate. Any favorite type?
Dark.
Okay, dark,
Yeah.
but not baker's chocolate. Just
Yeah.
like
Oh
the
no.
dark.
Ew. Ugh. No.
Okay, finish this sentence. Cybersecurity is really about.
Mm. Cybersecurity is really about, oh gosh, the two things that I keep bringing to the top: people and trust.
Yeah.
I don't
And you
know.
can't have one without the other, can you? I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important, especially in the work that we do, being incident responders, that there's trust that gets to be created very quickly. And I think that if there's a business owner listening out there, find a team that you can trust. And that team will be people. You know, as much as we want to automate everything and lean
yeah,
on AI, there's still people creating the AI. So, find a team that you can trust and that can help you walk through all of this. Do you
yeah.
have any? Yeah, go ahead.
We talked about that before. We're living in a world of chat bots and AI and
Mm,
machine learning and prompts. And when it comes to incident response and cybersecurity in general, the human factor is the biggest factor.
so important.
Like, you can't, could you imagine if someone was like, hey, go to this chat box to figure out what your incident response plan should be?
Or if you go to the
Or,
hospital, go to the
yeah,
chat, like to figure out, like, your arm's cut or something.
yeah, it's like the human factor is a huge element. Super proud of it here. I'm sure you're proud of it too at
Yeah. We
Alvaca.
always answer the
And
phone.
yeah, and the day the person is facing their worst day of their career, they want to be able to pick up the phone and talk to someone that's been there, done that thousands of times, that can give them direction, that has the human presence, empathy, trust, knowledge, expertise, all of that. They don't want to figure it out by putting it in chat, chat window for support.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, is huge, and it's I'm really proud of the human factor that that companies are leaning into. I mean, even though AI is just such a hot used word right now, it's Kardashian level overexposure.
Well, and I think that it's just good to know that, we have to take care of the humans who are taking
Mhm.
care of the technology, right? And I think you and I having this conversation is one step towards that. Before we wrap up, is there anything that you want listeners to know around cybersecurity, the cyber war, what you see every day? Is there anything you want to share?
Um, yeah, I think use your resources. Leadership should know, that they should have empathy, that people are trying their best, and the odds are stacked against stacked against us.
That's the game.
So yeah, I it drives me crazy when I hear like, "Don't let the hackers get the best of you, and don't fall prey." It's like there, like the FUD factor of driving fear, uncertainty, and doubt, it has no empathy at all. So I have empathy. Thinking that cybersecurity is purely an IT issue is, narrow-minded. Um, Empower your people early, ahead of time.
Yeah.
Use your resources like IRP plans. Create play cards for specific instances of an incident. One for ransomware, one for BEC, one for, be really specific in your and purposeful in your planning. And don't ever underestimate the emotional toll that your not only staff is dealing with, but the employees around the incident as well.
Yeah. And then do you have any tips for the novice user? Maybe someone who's listening to this is just out of curiosity, interested in cybersecurity, but maybe doesn't work in the trenches the way we do.
Yeah, I think that in my choice of this career, maybe versus another career, um, is that because hacking is happening 24/7 around the globe, um, you have to stay informed as much as you can. I mean, when I first got into cybersecurity, the worst thing that happened were script kiddies, like defacing a website. And I think about what we're doing, what
The
we face now.
Nigerians were sending us emails pretty early on,
Yeah,
though.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and now when I hear about some of the, you know, TTPs and what people are doing, I'm pretty blown away with where it's gone. And you know, so I think always taking time out of your day to learn something new in the area that that you want to be an expert in. Read articles. I read a ton. Read articles. Read, and inform your own, um, you know, ideas about it, talk to people about it. Like it's always good if you find a mentor or someone also, that has been in the business for a while, and say, "Hey, I read this article and it said this and that. What are your thoughts? These are my thoughts." Form opinions about it, but read and be educated as much as possible. Um,
And I will
you can.
say, as people who work in companies, even if you're not, in the cybersecurity realm, companies are spending a lot of money on teaching just the basics of cyber hygiene. And my ask to anyone listening is share what you learn here. Share what you learn at your company. If you accidentally clicked something, vulnerably show up and say, I learned something today, as opposed to hiding it. Because the hiding
Yeah,
of it is really what's keeping the threat actors, enabled.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, Kristi, thank you for being here. You brought
Thank
wisdom,
you.
clarity, very grounded kind of hope. And to our listeners, again, if you could work at a company, nonprofit, or agency, and you don't have a playbook yet, or you haven't touched it since 2024, this is your sign. Cyber events don't wait for perfect conditions, but you can be ready, one decision at a time. We'll link more about Beazley Security in the show notes. And as always, thank you for being part of the Cyber Soul community. We'll catch you on the next frequency. Bye for now.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.